All right, welcome to our special interview with Veronica Ticklefeather um, on Roundup on Free FM 89. Um, all right, Miss Veronica, since many of the listeners might not know of you and your work, can you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I have been a wrestling manager for a couple years now. I started out in Chikara, managing with Archibald Pack for quite some time, and later it was Mr. Touchdown, and the last group that I was with was Tim Don. And since then, I've been in AIW for, I would say, about a year and a half, or maybe a year, managing the Bateri. They have been tag champions twice since I've been managing them. And I really enjoy being a manager. There's not a lot of managers out there in professional wrestling. There's just very few. And the few that are there, we do one heck of a job being managers, and I enjoy every single minute of it. I really do.
Yeah, female wrestlers are extremely rare nowadays. Managers are extremely rare nowadays.
Well, growing up, it was during the late 80s, early 90s, and I will watch a lot of WWF. Of course, whenever I saw, Miss Elizabeth or Sensational Sherry, it was always, night and day, good and bad. That just simple little stories of everything. And I always loved Miss Elizabeth. She didn't have to say much, but she did so much during the matches. Especially now that I'm older and I rewatched some of that stuff, it was just so mind-blowing of what she did. And so when I saw Sherry and everything, of course, when you're a kid, you get more emotion and stuff like that from her. See, she started out as a professional wrestler, and of course, like her really great matches with Fabulous Moolah and so on and so forth. And when she became a female manager for like Macho Man and, of course, the $1 Million Man and Shawn Michaels and everything, she really put their careers, these men, careers on a whole different level. She just adds so much spice to their careers. And she knew how to be calculating. She wasn't afraid to get rough with the boys, interfering in matches, and, of course, her taking bumps and everything. You really don't realize that as a kid, but once you get into the business, it's like, wow, she really wasn't afraid of anything. She was just a very strong and powerful woman who just got in there and did what she had to do. I was mentioning Sunny, and during the 90s, everybody had a crush on her. My dad always, he had a huge crush on her, so I really didn't pay much attention to her. But as I got older and I would rewatch her stuff, like with the Body Donnas, and just seeing her, working the crowd and everything with the emotions and everything, really telling the story outside of the ring, just to emphasize a move or if there was something bad that was happening to her team or anything like that. She really knew what she was doing, and of course she was very cute, and unfortunately sometimes I hate saying this, but sex does sell, and she was just very gorgeous and very cute, as a person and everything, and I think that's why she became so popular. But it wasn't so much of looks, it was also she had talent and everything.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yes, she's probably number 4 on my list of all-time favorite managers. And so when I throw around the compliment that you remind me of her, I don't use that lightly because
Wow. Thank
because
you.
because she was such a legendary character, and
Oh my God, yeah.
however
Oh
she
my
could
God,
not
yeah.
sing. she she could not sing. That was one decision they made when they made Shawn Michaels sing his theme song. That was a right decision.
Oh yeah.
But she was flat out sensational in every way, and she was appropriately named as a result.
Oh yes. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't just, the female managers that influenced me. Of course, Bobby Heenan was a really huge influence on me. Jimmy Hart, he was a lot of fun to watch too. Um, I'm trying. The genius. The genius does not. He wasn't so much of a manager, but he was just a cherry on top when it came with Mr. Perfect and everything. He doesn't get a lot of credit for what he did. He had so much talent. I mean, I just watched an interview. It was kind of like a promo with him, Gene Okerlund, and Mr. Perfect, and it just blew my mind. As a kid, again, you don't realize it, and you're just going with the character. But as I'm saying, as like an adult, it's like, wow, this guy really has great talent, great mic skills and everything, and he really doesn't get a lot of credit for what he did.
Yeah, I did enjoy some of the stuff that the genius did, especially when he would write his poems.
Oh, yes, yes.
But he was just he was an interesting character. All right. Let's see here. All right. So, when did you begin to think that pro wrestling would be a future career for you?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I always wanted to be a professional wrestler growing up. I can tell you a story that it was WrestleMania 10, and I saw Alondra Blaze. And during that year, I followed her career with Bull Nakano and Survivor Series and everything. And it was WrestleMania 10, and I saw her and saw how phenomenal she was. And my mom's in the kitchen making dinner, and I go, "Mom, I want to be a wrestler." And she just looked at me and she goes, "Okay." And it was funny. I woke up. It was like one of the cliche of like, I woke up this morning and decided to go into pro wrestling, and I realized, during my time being trained as a wrestler, that I think that there's something missing in professional wrestling, and that's the professional wrestling manager. And we haven't really seen that a lot not only on TV and everything, but in the wrestling independent circuit. So I said to myself, you know what, I think I can be a much better person and contribute my talents into wrestling as a professional wrestling manager. It just suited me so well. It was just like a hand in the glove. It was absolutely perfect.
And you can tell by the enjoyment that people can get from your work. When
Oh, some people did not enjoy my work,
but you're doing your job properly then.
In my earlier career, but
right.
but that's okay. They have that right to boo and cheer, which is totally fine.
All right.
I enjoy what I do and everything, so that's fine.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you got started in Chikara.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because completely on a whim, I decided to buy the DVD for the High Noon show.
Yes.
And that was when I was introduced to you, and it was practically love at first sight because I absolutely enjoyed what I saw there. from
Oh,
the work
great.
that you did with Colt Cabana and Archibald Peck,
And
and
Coco
of course
Bunny, don't
Coke
forget
Bunny.
him.
Yes, that was fun. All right.
Oh, those two are really great talent. Um, they contribute so well into professional wrestling and everything. And I learned so much from both of them, and I learned a lot from Coco Bunny as well. So I was just very thankful to work with those two and to, get a lot of feedback and to, up my game a little bit, as a manager and everything. And I'm just very thankful to, work with Coco Cabana and Archibald Peck.
Archibald Peck seems like a really funny person. Is he funny behind the scenes? And,
Yes, he is. Yes,
right.
he's an awesome guy. Great guy.
I think in the Chikara roster, I think he was my third favorite behind you. And why am I admitting this on air? Jakob Hammermeyer.
Oh, Jacob.
Yes, I
Jacob,
love
Jacob.
him.
Jacob, I love Jacob. I really did. He was such a great person. A total sweetheart.
Yeah. All right. Grady actually had a question that he'd like to have asked. Have you traveled? How have you traveled in your career?
Oh, I have traveled. I have traveled a lot. Been to Canada a couple times. Been to New England area, like Rhode Island, Vermont, Massachusetts, New York City, like in Brooklyn and Manhattan. A lot of times in Jersey. There's a lot of stuff going on in Jersey. Of course, in Philadelphia, parts in Pennsylvania, like Allentown, Easton. Furthest west I've been was Milwaukee. Chicago, Florida, down south in like Alabama and Georgia, North Carolina. I always wanted to go to New Orleans. I really would love to go to New Orleans. I would like to travel into California as well. Try out. My main goal is to get to Japan and as well as England. Those are my two top goals in my professional wrestling career to really get into. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's extremely, and I'm telling you, like a dime a dozen, a professional wrestling manager goes over to Japan, and I would like to be that rarity in our business to, go over there and kick some butt, and contribute my work into the Japanese culture and everything. And also, I would love to learn and know so much about Japanese culture and everything. It's just like, in some ways, night and day compared to the United States. Don't get me wrong, there are some American wrestling fans that just enjoy Japanese wrestlers and what they can do and everything, especially in the independent circuit and everything.
Yeah, the Japanese style does have a large following, as I've noticed online.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay. Besides Chikara and AIW that you mentioned, is there anywhere else that you've worked for?
No, not necessarily. My cousin, Sammy G. O'Donnell, she's been bouncing around here and there. She first started out in Evolve. Then she got involved with the law, and she was on probation and stuff like that. And then she finally, once she settled in and started turning her life around, which is great, she has been representing a lot of female competitors in the United States. She is with the Social Network and AIW. In fact, there's going to be a Girls' Night Out, 2 shows, a doubleheader in October, I believe. And the social network consists of Heidi Lovelace, Amy Social, and Nikki St. John. And she works so well with them, and I'm just so very proud of her to work with them. And she also represents Bone Jesse Brooke in WSU, and she has a total great time over in WSU. She just loves it. And I'm just so happy and so thankful that, you know, she's turned herself around and she's keeping herself busy. She works at the dollar store. And, you know, some people laugh and all that stuff that she works at the dollar store. And in fact, I'm very happy that she has a job in general, you know, and she's staying out of trouble. And, of course, a lot of people have been comparing us to, especially that we look very much alike, like almost identical twins. But, you know, I try to keep myself prim and proper, whereas she just rolls out of bed and she's like, okay, I'm good for the day.
All right. Okay, what is the favorite match that you've been a part of for you?
Oh, God, that's a very tough question because I've been to a lot of matches. I would have to say the very first time it was the Young Lions Cup finals with Mr. Touchdown and ACH. And, yeah, I was thrown in a trash can by his cousin Dasher. I was very upset by that. But at the end of it all, Mr. Touchdown, he won his cup, and from there on, he was just an unstoppable force. And I was just, like, really happy to see him taking over professional wrestling. Not only in Chikara and the Wrestling Is promotion, but all over the independent circuit. He's just such a phenomenal talent, and I wish a lot of people would get to know who Mr. Touchdown is. I can really see him in like the WWE or TNA. You know, he's so focused on what he's doing in his career, and I'm just so thankful that, you know, I was there to help him out in his career. And I think, you know, I feel as though I have the Midas touch. Like anything I touch turns to gold, and he is something that I touched, he turned into gold. Am I saying like I did everything in his career to boost him up? Not everything. You know, he did a lot of things on his own, and he's continuing to do a lot of things on his own, and I'm just so very proud of him. I see a great future in him, and people really should get to know Mr. Touchdown. He's just phenomenal.
Yeah, I did enjoy what I saw of his work and stuff in Chikara, so I am a fan. I'm more of a fan of Dasher Hatfield, but that kind of came with the territory, though.
Yes, of course.
Let's see. All right. How about a favorite match that you've watched in person but wasn't a part of?
Oh, and well, on TV, or in person. The one time I went to a Ring of Honor show, and at the time his name was Tyler Black, and I went to a Ring of Honor show with my cousin Sammy. She would go to a lot of the shows whenever they came to Philadelphia or New York City, and the one time I went with her at the Armory in Philadelphia, and Tyler Black, earlier in the night, he won the qualifying match to go against Nigel McGuinness, and Nigel was the Ring of Honor champion at the time, and he really took his career and just made it into fireworks. I thought this guy was just going to be put in a hospital the way he was getting beat up and everything, but he just kept coming back, and he had so much great heart going into this match. Like, he was the real underdog, and people just fell in love with him and his emotions and everything. And Nigel, of course, is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And with those two combined, it just was mind-blowing. They told such a great story in and outside of the ring, and they were just both great athletes. And, you know, after that, Tyler Black's career just exploded. And, of course, you know, now he's in the WWE, and, of course, like, he's just doing phenomenal there as well. So that was just one of my favorite matches that I saw, and was really happy to witness.
Yeah, that sounds like it was a really fun match.
It was awesome. You should have been there or buy the DVD.
Yeah. And for our listeners that might be a little confused by the name Tyler Black, you would know him today as Seth Rollins of The Shield.
Yes. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right. Which arena has been your favorite arena to have gone to?
Oh, gosh. Of course, number one would be, I call it the arena down in South Philly. People call it the ECW arena. It's home. You know, because I'm born and raised Philadelphia, and, you know, I did watch a little bit of the ECW stuff when I was a kid and everything, and it didn't have, like, all the glitz and the glare and everything, but the ECW arena, it was home to me. And every time I went out to perform in the arena, I always got nervous. I was scared. And believe me, I've been in other places where, you know, the bathrooms were cleaner, there was much more room, there was air conditioning and stuff like that. But the ECW arena, it was home. It was home to me.
As the Wizard of Oz says, there's no place like home.
Oh, yes. And I'm a huge Wizard of Oz fan, so you got me.
Right. Hey, you and the Materia is kind of a weird combination. How did that come about?
Well, excuse me. They needed a manager when they first walked into AIW, and it was, you know, my first time coming into AIW, and I was still, you know, as a majorette, and we were just like the oddballs going into it all. But as time progressed, I said to myself, you know what, the dark side is the best side. So, of course, I got into whips and chains, leather and lace, my biker hat, whole 9 yards. And I really enjoy just working with them, and just, it's not just the grotesque nature of them, it's also, you know, like I said, the dark side. And everybody has a dark side, and people suppress their dark side a lot. And outside of it all, I just think the Batiri is just an amazing group to work with, and there's such great talent and everything. And actually yesterday, Cobalt came to be a substitute, and he worked so well, and I was just very proud of him. It was kind of like the free bird rule, you know, if one partner can't be there, you know, the other person can substitute. So that's basically what happened, and I was just so happy and so excited to see him in the AIW wrestling ring and competing and everything. And they really kicked ass last night. They really did. I was so happy for them.
Yeah. Cobalt is a fun character, and so I do get the appeal from that point. All right. See here. Have you heard of a little promotion in Florida called Shine Wrestling?
Oh, yes, I have.
Yes. I posted this on Twitter, but I'll go ahead and ask you about it. they have this little villain group down there called Valkyrie,
Yes.
which I would feel you would be the perfect manager for. What are your thoughts about
Oh, oh, thank you very much. Um, I believe, if they need a manager, they can always contact me. But thank you so much for the compliment. And to be honest with you, I think they do a phenomenal job with me. There's just great group of women who, are very progressive and aggressive. And I would just like to extend my congratulations to Reigns becoming the first Shine champion. And I am so happy to see them, really take over and everything. So that is, it's not just in Shine Wrestling, but in wrestling altogether. Not just women's wrestling, but wrestling altogether again. And that's a group that people really should get to know and everything, and really follow their careers and everything from like start to finish. It's a great group of women, very great talent.
Yeah, such I've enjoyed the Shine shows that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. All right. You hear? Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to promote or talk about?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Of course, I am with AIW, Absolute Intense Wrestling. One of I would say, the best promotion in the Midwest. They have such a great locker room, great group of people, great talent, and everything. So, in fact, yesterday, or last night, I should say, we sold out Turner's Hall, and each AIW show gets progressively better. So people really need to get to know AIW in Cleveland, Ohio. I have been, not doing as much work as I have before, so I have been taking a lot of time doing charity work, working with the Humane Society, the Pennsylvania SPCA. In fact, in February, I'm heading to Costa Rica, and I'm going down to see the sloth sanctuary. And for people who don't know what the sloth sanctuary is, they basically take care of orphan baby sloths that were either, rejected by their mothers or abandoned, or, the mothers are no longer around due to various reasons. And I've been wanting to go down there for many years and be part of the volunteer group, and they eliminated their volunteer group, which really saddened me because I would love to, taking care of them and everything. But, they're still open to the public. They have like a bed and breakfast, wonderful tours that you can go and see. And I'm going to be spending some time down there and, taking care of the babies and everything. And that's like a dream come true. That's one of the goals in my life to, check off and everything. And I'm just so very thrilled and very happy. And of course, if you can tell by the charity work that, I participate in, I'm a huge animal lover. And, I love working with animals, rescued animals, and everything. It's a lot of fun, and it can be heartbreaking, but it also fills your heart with joy that you're actually helping animals and everything. So that's what I've been doing with my time off from wrestling.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we're about out of time, so I've got to thank
Aww.
you. Yeah, I've enjoyed the interview.
I love interviews.
was really glad when you had emailed me about saying that you'd be on the show, because I never thought that you'd actually say yes. But thank you so much for being on here today.
Oh, well,
And
thank you so much
and we wish
for
you
having me
the
on.
best of your luck in your career. And maybe one day down the road, you can come back and we can talk about the everything from this point forward.
Oh, sure, no problem. I just want to say this. You can follow me on Twitter, uh, Veronica underscore Ticklefeather. Oh, God, what is my Twitter name?
Underscore MM1.
MM1, yeah, it's Veronica underscore MM1. I'm so tired. I don't even remember my own Twitter name. And I also have a Facebook page. I write some blogs here and there about professional wrestling. You can go and like my page, Veronica Ticklefeather. So it was such a pleasure to speak with you, and hopefully to come back soon.
All right. Well, thank you again, and have a good day.
All right, you too.